Hello to everyone. I am Daniel Di Schuler. I am a writer and, first and foremost, I'm a reader. What else to say about me? I'm Italian, as you can guess from my pronunciation, even though I'm from the Alps, and I live in the rainmost corner of Europe. Guess where? In Spain, but on the Atlantic coast of the country. For the rest, I just want to talk to you about literature, in particular about the Italian books I love the most. This without trying to give you lectures, just some advice to those of you more interested in Italian culture, to those of you that want to understand that great and wonderful mess that is my country from another perspective. This said, being from the Alps, and more being a former mountain trooper, I want to start with this book, Il sergente nella neve by Mario Rigoni Stern, a book that has been translated in English, and the English title is The Sergeant in the Snow. For me, and not only for me, it is a masterpiece. First of all, it's wonderfully written in the most simple but precise Italian you can imagine. Is worthy of the best Hemingway. Same style of prose, more or less. And more is without one single ounce of rhetoric. This is a squeeze of truth. And for this reason, one of the possible founding stones of an Italian epic of the 20th century. If you want, of an epic of the Italian democracy in which I grew up. This said, what is this book about? We need a minimum of historical context. We are during the Second World War. The Germans had invaded Russia. In the spring of 1942, Adolf asked his little friend Benito down in Rome to send him some mountain troops. They are among the very few Italian units that the Germans respect and needs them, so he says, to conquer the Caucasus Mountains. During the summer, the Alpine troops arrive in Russia. But the situation has dramatically changed. They will never see the mountain of Caucasus. They are immediately sent to shore up the German defense line along the river Don. On the 17th of January 1943, they are still there. In a perfect plain, in perfectly flat land, and without any anti-tank weapon, God only knows how, they managed to resist many Russian assaults. All around them, however, the Stalingrad front, yes, we are during the Battle of Stalingrad, the Stalingrad front had collapsed. Only that day, the fateful 17th January 1943, this troop received the order to retreat. Way too late, when between them and the nearest German defense lines there were 150 miles of territory already occupied by the Russian army. The first part of the book deals with the defense of the line of the Don River. The mountain troopers are there, entrenched. They fight every day, or almost. They die every day, or almost. But otherwise, their life is kind of normal. They receive food every day. The trenches are kept warm by stoves. There is nothing they complain about. Again, they die, but as they are supposed to die. The second part of the book deals with the retreat, and there is nothing normal there. There are very few trucks left, and not full, and they have to walk all those 150 miles. They have to do it in the harshest Russian winter ever recorded, or one of the harshest. Not only they have to fight all the way. There are continuously attempts of the Red Army to stop them. More, they spared an infinite column of disbanded soldiers, not only other units of the Italian army, but also Romanian, Hungarian, and yes, a substantial number of Germans. And Delpini gone forward toward home, as they think, and toward one final battle, the only sizable battle of that days, the only one that is a bit more than a footnote in the history books. The Battle of Nikolaevka. They won it, and they opened for themselves and the rest their road to salvation. Two numbers to understand the tragedy. When they started from the Don River, there were 50,000 more or less. Out of Nikolaevka, there were 10,000 more or less. So yes, they lost 80% of their effectives along the way. Rigoni tells us of the retreat in the most factual terms, in the most factual way. There is no need for rhetoric when the reality is so gruesome. It tells also a tale of human endurance, of the willingness to go on to fight against all odds. His book can be interesting for those that are into history. If someone is interested in weapons, there are comments about the effectiveness of this other weapon. But this is also a book for everybody. Everybody with a what to understand at what length can a human soul go. Only one thing you won't find into this book: hate. Rigoni doesn't hate the enemy. He has to kill them. By the way, he was a machine gunner and very good at it. A silver medal an Italian silver medal, and no, they are not like the German Iron Cross. They were not thrown around in millions. You had to deserve one. The Alpini, to tell the truth, relate more with the Russians, peasants around them than with the Germans. Therefore, Rigoni are not an enemy, but someone he really doesn't like. What you won't find in this book is politics, but Italian anti-fascism, or better, mass anti-fascism, was born during these days. When the mountain trooper left Italy for Russia, they were a slice of Italian society of the time. The regime was not so popular as it used to be, but it was kind of given. It was the reality you had to deal with. And probably a few of them, maybe even the majority, still believed there was something good in fascism. Already on the banks of the Don, they lost every illusion. They understood the true nature of the regime and the lies they were told them back home. Even more so after the retreat. Not by chance, most of them, of those still able to fight, when Italy switched sides, something we should talk about sooner or later, went immediately up the mountain and started to shoot against the Germans. And Rigoni? Oh, Rigoni managed to go back home only to be captured by the German and sent to a concentration camp where somewhere in Poland, I don't remember, where he also started writing this book. Then at the end of the war, he managed to go back to his hometown in the Alps, start working as a clerk, as a civil servant, and completed his novel that remained in his drawer for a few years. Still, it was discovered by a pretty famous Italian writer of the time, Vittorini, that had it published with a very important Italian publisher, Einaudi. Usually, when I talk about Italian books, I read a few lines of those works. In this case, I can't do it. I just have the Italian original. I know that an English translation is available, but it's not with me. This said, I would just to remember one of the most moving pages of the book. Night is falling. They are in the steppe. Temperature is way below freezing. They have to find a cover for the night, or they'll be dead. Rigoni sees a small house, Isba, enter it, only to find there is an old Russian woman that is feeding a bunch of Russian partisans. Rigoni is alone with a couple of men, and he thinks he's dead. all these Russians have machine guns with them. He's there exhausted with his bolt-action rifle, nothing else. The lady, the old woman, with a gesture of her hand, stops everybody. Order Rigoni to sit and feeds him like the rest of the people. Rigoni eats, say thanks, and go away. Humanity is never lost. I hope you enjoyed these videos. We'll see if I'll we find the nerve to do some others. Ciao!